So every year, right about this time when the days are starting to noticeably get shorter and shorter, I start rummaging through my pajama drawer and looking for something cozy to put on and ultimately going, nope. Nothing in there really excites me at the moment, and ultimately I just want a pair of pajamas that look a lot less like I've just worn yesterday's t-shirt and whatever bottoms I've managed to pick up first, and instead I want something that is a bit more elevated, more luxurious, something matching, and something that makes me feel like it's a spa day at home. So I'm going to turn that dream into reality, and over the next few months I'm going to fill my pajama drawer with the most gorgeous handmade sets of pajamas, and I'm going to kick it off by making the Pipit Loungewear Set by Common Stitch. Now this looks like a relatively easy make, so let's see how this one sews up. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and this is Ripper Seams. That's right, today we're going to be making some lovely pajamas because I want to be able to go to my pajama drawer and be excited and just go, oh my gosh, which ones do I pick? So many amazing ones to choose from. At the moment, I don't have that. I have made pajamas in the past, but I normally only make the pajama bottoms. I have lots of lovely pajama bottoms, and then I just pick some random t-shirts to go with it. They're not really matching sets, and I'm a bit over that because ultimately the cold weather is on its way. It's that time of year where you just want to stay at home and be cozy. You don't want to leave the house. So why not wear some nice cozy loungewear whilst you're doing that? So I have lined up quite a few different pajama sets that I want to make for myself over the next few months. I've got lots of lovely cottons in my stash that I want to use up, and I thought I'd kick things off with this lovely Pipit pajama set. So I can see myself putting these PJs on after a glorious hot shower, slipping on a big fluffy robe, putting my feet up, having a smoothing in hand, soft music playing, and just taking a nice quiet moment to myself. Oh, hi! What a perfect time to introduce you to my new favourite thing, and that is the Bob & Brad iOasis 2 Plus eye massager. That's right, we actually have a sponsor for this week's video, and for someone who is a dedicated massage junkie, this felt like the perfect partnership. The iOasis was designed by physical therapist Bob & Brad, who do great videos on YouTube by the way, and this eye mask is all about easing eye strain, headaches and dryness. It's got 5 modes, adjustable air pressure and a gentle heat setting that feels like a lovely warm hug across your face. And if you're like me and like a little bit of background music whilst you're relaxing, you can either listen to the built-in spa sounds or you can connect to Bluetooth and listen to your favourite music like I do. The iOasis 2 Plus is also super practical and easy to use. You can change the settings via the buttons on the side or use the handy remote. It folds flat into its travel pouch, charges quickly with USB-C, has auto shut off after 15 minutes, plus it's a great visual cue to everybody else that you are in do not disturb mode. So I've been using this for over a month now, and not only have I been enjoying it, but I've also been benefiting from it. So I've actually been suffering from really dry eyes for years now, and the heat function on this thing is the best. It's been helping unclog my oil glands, so my eyes are feeling a lot more comfortable and, well, more wet, which is not glamorous, but trust me, it's a big win for me and why I'm really happy to promote this product. Not only that, but it's also a great way to help you unwind at the end of a busy day, setting you up for a great night's sleep. And with gifting season not too far away, I think this would make a brilliant present for someone you love, or even yourself. I won't tell if you put your own name on the tag. There's a promo code and a link for you to get 10% off the iOasis 2 Plus down in the description box if you want to go check it out. And of course, a huge thank you to Bob & Brad for sponsoring this week's video. Now let's get back to Ripper Seams to tell you more about the Pipit Loungewear Set. All right, time to look at the lovely juicy details of the Pipit Loungewear Set, starting with those gorgeous style lines. So this is quite a simple little silhouette, but still equally stunning. It is modern, it is timeless, and the balance of that top with the bottoms, just perfection. And I just really think these look really, really lovely. The top is boxy, it's a little bit cropped, but the big showcase there is those lovely big floaty sleeves, almost bell-like. And of course, we've got a set of buttons running down the front. The bottoms are pretty straightforward. There is elastic that runs around the waist there, and they're not too short, they're not too long, they're the right length for pajamas in my book, just hitting right in the middle of that thigh. And of course there is a pocket on the back, and who doesn't love a pocket? Now, when it comes to fabric, a light to medium weight woven fabric is going to be perfect here. You do want something with a little bit of flow, a little bit of drape to kind of really get that elegant, casual look to this loungewear set. For me, I'm going with this super gorgeous lightweight cotton, which I got from Sanskriti Fabrics, which is a fabric retailer in India who do ship to the UK. This fabric is incredibly soft. It's really, really light. I really love it, and it's going to be perfect for this particular make. As well as the fabric, you're going to need 1.5 inches of elastic, 5 buttons for the top, as well as some interfacing for those facing pieces around the front. Size-wise, there are 10 different size options you can go for, ranging from a 6 through to a 24. That is a bust of 78 to 123 centimeters. Does seem to be a lot of positive ease in the top. So yeah, these are going to be really nice, airy and breathable pajamas. I don't feel as if there's any need for me to adjust my sizing here apart from what I measure up to on the pattern. In saying that, according to my measurements, I will be making the size 12 for the top and the size 16 for the bottoms. So I do have my pattern pieces all cut up and ready to go. So let's go take this to the sewing machine. So let's get stuck into sewing these shorts, and there's just something really comforting about sewing pajama shorts. They were actually the very first successful garment I made a few years back, where everything worked out just as it should, and it's all history from there. I still wear those shorts today, and honestly, I think making PJ shorts is almost a rite of passage for any new sewers. They're simple, they're practical, and they're such a big confidence booster. These Pipet shorts are really straightforward in the same way. The front and back legs go together, and before you know it, they're taking shape. The only odd thing about this make is the pocket placement. You actually sew it on after you've joined everything together, which feels a little bit backwards to me, but hey, it works. And then of course there's the elastic, the final hurdle. You have to keep it stretched the whole way around as you stitch it down, which always turns into a bit of a workout. My face is very much in full grunt work mode here, but once that waistband is in, it is done. It's a comfy little pair of shorts that remind me why I still love this kind of make. So it's the next day, and after a late night sewing session, I have got myself a completed pair of pajama bottoms, and they're super, super cute. I mean, like, they are pajama bottoms, and once you've sewn those a couple of times, the process is pretty straightforward. So absolutely breeze through these. Now, I'm very happy that the waistband elastic is sewn in here and not fed through a channel, mainly because I hate waistbands rolling. I mean, I specifically have non-roll elastic in here anyway, but to me, I feel as if this is more secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And this is my preferred way of putting in waistbands, particularly in pajamas. Now, I have done a try on and they fit relatively well. My only call out is the front rise. Not a lot of leeway there. And yeah, these tigers are in danger of meeting camels, if you know what I mean. So far in my pants making experience, I've not had to adjust that front rise. These ones only just squeak by. So yeah, just keep an eye out that you might want to do some measurements there. Apart from that, I'm really happy with the length of these. They are definitely hitting in that mid-thigh region. So I can tell you now, this pattern is not going to get full marks for brain friendliness, only because there's a few points in the pattern where I felt as if there was some information missing, which could have easily just been done in a sentence. I also think there's a few unnecessary steps in there, or steps which should have been done earlier. But yeah, overall, I still ended up with a really cute pair of pajama bottoms. So still definitely worth pursuing, and now it's time to get on to the top. So I was off to a roaring start with getting those shoulder seams done and joining the facing pieces at the neck. However, I did have to stop and question the instructions for the next step. So I'm just jumping on to explain what I am not going to do with the facing pieces, because the instructions say to finish off the edges of both sides of this facing. I've decided I'm only going to do the one side, the bit that isn't sewn on, because if I overlock the inside edge, the edge that gets sewn onto the actual main fabric, you're going to create a line of bulk right up against that edge seam all the way around, and I don't think I want that. In particular, the curve piece that goes around the neck, because you're going to have to cut into that anyway to create that nice smooth curve. So overlocking, I don't think it's necessary. So I'm going rogue. I'm not following the instructions at this point. I'll report back to see whether I regret this later on. So once I stood my ground with the facing finishing, it was time to actually sew it. And while this part is never the most glamorous thing to do, it really does give that neckline a nice clean finish, and I'm glad I didn't do that extra overlocking. Interfacing in, and totally no regrets about not doing that overlocked edge. Probably would definitely have added bulk there. Glad I missed it out. Projects like this remind me how important it is to sprinkle these easy makes into my sewing plans. They're quick wins, and honestly, they're some of the pieces I wear the most. I've made my fair share of fancy garments, but it's these straightforward everyday makes that end up on constant rotation. They don't take a huge time investment, they're satisfying to sew, and they're the ones you actually reach for when you're at home or just want to feel comfortable. And here's the best part, they're often affordable too. I mean, like this entire Pipit Loungewear set came in at about £15 for fabric and notions. So not only is it handmade, but it's also an absolute bargain. Spa day vibes on a budget, well, that's my kind of project. So after a whole bunch of cutting and measuring and sewing, we've got a final pair of pajamas, and they are so blooming gorgeous. Absolutely thrilled with the result. So here's Barbara proudly showing off the finished result. Obviously I'm going to do a backyard catwalk of these later on in the video, so do stick around for that. But before then, I thought I'd take the opportunity just to walk through what I like about this pattern, things that I think could definitely be improved, and ultimately how I thought about my finished result. So let's just have a chat about what I really like about this pattern, and pretty much it is the overall end result. I'm very, very chuffed with it. Overall, it's got that beautiful, effortless style in there. It's very modern, it's very fresh, it's very floaty. Exactly what I was looking for in a pair of pajamas. I'm a big fan of cotton pajamas, so this particular silhouette is just doing that type of fabric justice. I love the balance between the top and the bottom, and the overall style lines of both pieces work really, really well together. These sleeves are absolutely adorable. I mean, like, look at the drapiness and the fullness of them there, and I absolutely love the lovely cuff detail that you put on there at the end. A lovely bit of top stitching. It's what gives it that elevated look. Let's just quickly take a look at the back. Barbara, if you please. Obviously, sorry, I haven't ironed it very well at the back here. But overall, we've got some nice length in that top there, even though it is that cropped boxy shape. I don't feel as if I'm showing anything off having the top at this length. Probably can't see it here, but the pocket is nicely placed as well. Obviously, you'll see that in the backyard catwalk a bit better. But overall, a lovely, perfect finish result. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Things which I think could have been improved, and ultimately, it is actually all to do with the bottoms, and my biggest call out is that front rise, because it is really tight. Let me see if I can elevate Barbara here. This bit here, this is really, really tight. I mean, like, it's obviously on Barbara, she hasn't really got proper legs or crotch or anything, but even on here, it's tight. On me, it is literally got millimeters to spare before that suddenly gets really tight in that groin area. So if, and probably more likely when, I end up making these again, I'm definitely going to add a centimeter or two to that rise at the front, just to give a bit more freedom to that groin area. As I said earlier, normally I don't have to do anything in that area, so the fact that this is tight on me, if you're taller than me, you might have a bit of an issue. So I do highly recommend that you measure that particular piece of the pattern before you cut out your fabric, and see if you need to do any lengthening of those short pieces. What I think is a missed opportunity here as well is just a little bit consistency between the top and the bottom. These cuffs on the sleeves would have been absolutely delightful to have been on the hems of the shorts as well. I think there's a missed trick there, and again, something I might want to hack next time I go around and make these. I think that would have pushed these pajamas into the super fancy zone, but at the same time, I can also understand maybe keeping those shorts a little bit more plain, so the top is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting on what this looks like. So yeah, I can see both ways, but I think given how beautiful these cuffs are, it would be nice to show that off elsewhere in the garment. The other thing too is just consistency in finishing off the hems. So for the bottom of the shorts, you do a double turn up and then top stitch into place. For the top, you overlock and do a single turn up and top stitch in place. My instinct was to do the double turn up and just give that nicer finish, especially since this is more likely to kind of flip up. Obviously it's overlocked, it still looks nice, but to have a double flipped up hem would have been better. I didn't do that because I was just concerned about taking length off this top. So in future, I think I might end up lengthening the top by a centimeter or so, just so I can just finish off this hem exactly how I want it. The only other thing which I thought was probably not necessary is the need to put a horizontal buttonhole at the top here whilst the rest are vertical. I find that's really, really hard to get your measurements of your buttons right. maths. Don't need maths when I'm making some pajamas. So I did do it as per the instructions. I just wanted to see how it would turn out. I was close, but I still ended up having a little bit more of a gap up the top here than the rest of the buttons, despite my efforts to make that perfect. So yeah, there is a visual effect where you can see that this is slightly bigger of a gap than all the rest of the buttons. So I think in future, I'm just going to make all of these buttons in a vertical format. And yeah, I don't need the fanciness of having this top button done a different way. So overall, I think the combination of the fabric and the pattern together works really, really well. It's definitely giving me that high elevated spa day vibes I was looking for. So much so that when I tried this on the other night, when I finished it, I basically didn't take it off and I went straight to bed and I wore it, and it was a very beautiful, blissful good night's sleep. Since then, it's washed really well, ironed really well, and this cotton has come out an absolute treat. I do have to do a big shout out for this cotton. It is so soft, it is delightful to work with, and it's sewn up really, really well. So if you've been looking at the fabrics on the Sanskriti website, wasn't too sure about the quality of them, an absolutely winning move having purchased fabrics from them, because this fabric is absolutely delightful and I do recommend picking some up of your own. So with that, let's give the Pipit Loungewear Set some Ripper Seams ratings, starting with brain friendliness. So from my experience for this pattern, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 happy brains. So the reason for that lower ratings, and I mentioned it before, is I just think there's an opportunity in there for these pattern instructions to be a little bit clearer. Maybe a few of the steps kind of moved earlier or pushed back a little bit, and definitely a bit more consistency between what you're doing with the top and the bottom. I feel as if I was making 2 separate things. Technically they are separate things, but as a set that kind of goes together, I think having the bottom hems at the top and the bottom should have been consistently done. You sew the back pocket onto those shorts really late into the process, and I can't see why that wasn't done straight off the bat when you've got a flat piece, because with the instructions as it is, you're trying to attach a pocket onto what's nearly a fully completed pair of shorts. Obviously sewing it onto a single back piece would be a lot easier done earlier on, especially since you've got guidelines on where to put it. So why you're doing it so late in the instructions, making it more difficult, I really don't know. So that was a bit of an oddity for me. The instruction to overlock the bottom hem and then turn it up twice, it just creates bulk. Likewise, the suggestion to fully overlock all the sides of the interfacing. So you would have a slightly bulky line right around this edge. I just didn't want it and I didn't do it, and I'm very glad I did. So it's just little things like that which kind of stops it from having full marks. When it comes to fit, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Overall, as a set, it fits really well. The top I have no problems with at all. Perfect to the size which I chose. It does have a good amount of positive design ease, and on me, the sizing which I picked, it's just the right amount. Sometimes when there's a lot of positive design ease, I do tend to drop myself down a size. Don't need to in this one, so I don't feel as if you need to drop it down. The missing point for fit is obviously the groin section. That front rise, way too short, I think, for the majority of people that are making this, I presume. So if it's short on me, it's definitely going to be short on a lot of other people. So do keep that in mind. But overall, the shorts themselves, everything else fits really, really nicely. So yeah, we're going to do 4 out of 5 for the fit. However, for overall lovableness, I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 lovable otters, because I love how this came out. I've said it several times already, but this is definitely evoking those wonderful spa day at home vibes. I feel really quite elegant, fancy wearing them around the house. Will definitely be getting stuck into these ones. Husband has given them the big thumbs up. He thinks they're super cute. So yeah, I do recommend the pattern generally. Obviously, just take your time, read through the instructions, pick and choose the order in which you want to do things and whether or not you do any extra overlocking steps. But apart from that, I can see why there is so much love for this particular pattern on Instagram. Generally, do check out the hashtag on Instagram, because there's lots of amazing makes on there. Definitely lots of options to also wear this as regular out and about day wear. I'm definitely going to be making this top again in all shapes and forms. Shorts as well, once you get the sizing right, could make just general everyday shorts as well. So I think this is a really lovely flexible pattern. Comes up beautifully. It's going to be really great resort wear, holiday wear, hot weather wear for those countries, especially moving into your spring summer season. Definitely check this one out or put it on your list for the next summer season coming your way. So now that we've talked about the finished result and seen it on Barbara, time to go take it out onto the backyard catwalk. So here we go, the Pipit Loungewear Set making its grand backyard debut in full tiger print drama, and I'm really pleased with how this make turned out. The fit is relaxed, easy, and exactly what I want from loungewear, and it's not something that I want to change out of in a hurry. The top has a relaxed boxy fit with super fancy floaty sleeves, which I absolutely love. It's got cute little buttons down the front, and it's also the perfect length to neatly overlap with the shorts. As you can see, those shorts are elasticated and feel perfectly snug, and around the back we've got a cute little pocket which you can use for snacks. But I do have to call out the camel in the room. Would have liked that rise in the front to have had just an extra centimetre or two added to it. The whole set is cut for comfort, it's cozy, it's classic, and right now it is Backyard Catwalk approved. So there we go, that is my review of the Pipit Loungewear Set by Common Stitch. Definitely a pattern to go check out. I'll leave all the links down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out those links and the discount codes for the Bob & Brad Eye Oasis 2 Plus Eye Massager. Definitely something to consider pampering yourself after a long session of sewing. So that closes out my first make for my Ripper Seams pajama party a journey which I'm pursuing to make the world's most awesome pajamas. Let me know what you thought of the Pipit Loungewear Set, and if you have a particularly well-loved pajama pattern that you think I should try, then do go and list that down below. I am on the pursuit of pajama happiness, and I would love to hear your suggestions. So if you've enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please do go and give me a thumbs up down below. I believe there's a new feature on YouTube as well where you can hype a video if you've enjoyed it. It'd be great if you could do that, or just help me get seen by more and more wonderful sewers like yourself. And if you haven't already done so, then please also consider subscribing to my channel. You can do so by clicking on that subscribe button down below, as well as that notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any future Ripper Seams videos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. As always, it's an absolute pleasure having you here. I wish you a wonderful week of sewing, and I'll see you in the next video.